Good. All right, so today, to start off our health unit, we're going to talk about alcohol. As a grade 9 health class, you probably start to feel exposed to the drinking that is in high school. For example, 79% of students in Alberta over 15 to some extent. About 83% of Ontario high school students use alcohol at some level, and half of that number does what they would consider to be binge drinking, so it is out there. It's important that you know about it, you know what the consequences of it, and what it's doing to your body. So to start off, I have a video for you. You've probably seen something like it before. And I just want you to think about what's being shown in the video. What message is being spread through this? And you guys see it?
I do have a point on here which is sort of a scary little bit, right? And saying that, if you're not using the right things, or not using it could be there are
That would be how you would check it off.
Somebody tells them not to drink alcohol because it's failing, right?
So that's a commercial from Bud Light. Just popcorn style. What sort of messages is that commercial sending, Lucas?
If that's about
And the
alcohol.
last one is more impressive.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun, right? Chelsea, did I see your hand up? Like I even heard someone say in the class, wow, that looks like a great time. So you can tell just from that there is a kind of emphasis on drinking is fun, just in our culture, just in commercials, through pop culture. And before we get back to that, I want to kind of step back and just so we're going to talk about what alcohol is. So it's a depressant. It depresses your nervous system when you drink it. It's absorbed through the bloodstream and spreads pretty quickly. You've probably heard of blood alcohol content. It's what's measured when you take a breathalyzer. So the legal limit in Canada is 0.8. So what that means is about 10,000 drops of blood, if you can kind of picture that in a compartment. If you swap one drop of that blood out for alcohol, that's 0.01, sorry, of alcohol. And then how fast it spreads through your system varies on your gender, your size. Women, alcohol goes through their system faster than it does for men. Bigger men, it goes through slower than smaller men, like that. So alcohol sets off a chain reaction in your brain. The more you drink from it, the more of the brain is affected. So at the highest levels, when you're starting to get affected by alcohol poisoning, the amount of alcohol in your system, it's affecting your brainstem and the body's ability to control involuntary responses, so breathing or pumping blood, because alcohol is essentially poison. And then you've probably heard of mixed drinks or alcohol like rum and coke, and those are not twice as worse, because I don't want to say there's a statistic that is this much worse than alcohol, but it's worse than just having alcohol by itself because it's confusing the body. When you put alcohol, which is a depressant, with say coke, which is a stimulant, you're stressing your heart rate because it doesn't know whether it should be getting, calming itself down or getting worked up. And then it's also dangerous if you combine alcohol with another depressant, like say marijuana, because then the body is depressing itself twice as much. And when you mix substances like this, it gets difficult for the body to feel the effects of both substances, so you end up with, say, twice the dosage of alcohol and twice the dosage of, I guess, Coca-Cola. So you've seen the Bud Light commercial now. Now I'm going to show you a different video. One that's kind of focuses not so much on the fun side of drinking that you might have heard from older students or just through the media. So this is just a video on what alcohol does to your body and your brain as a teenager. So we'll just take a look at this.
Usually when it's in the lab, it's often made of ceramic. You can see some in real life made of wood. I've never seen that, but I know they do.
Anyone see?
Adolescence is the transition from childhood to adulthood, encompassing a period of major physical, emotional, intellectual, and social
So hearing
change.
that word, what does that sound?
Our brains have also changed considerably during this time.
What do you think it looks
The developing brain is a learning machine, and from when we're born, it grows enormously as we learn more and more about the world. This means we end up with billions of connections in our brains, but many of these pathways are too slow or not needed.
right? Squeeze the bottle.
It's during the teenage years that our brains are renovated, whereby most of these unnecessary connections are removed or pruned away.
We're going to do a little.
At the same time, the connections that are kept are insulated to allow for faster communication across the brain, a process called myelination. Pruning and myelination occur gradually over the teenage years and are greatly influenced by our experiences and interactions with the outside world, including the alcohol and drugs we choose to take. Let's take a closer look inside the brain. The frontal lobes take the longest to develop. By about 25, they've become your center for decision making, helping you to plan and organize, focus your attention, control your mood and behavior, and solve day-to-day problems. The temporal lobes are like an information processing center that builds your library for sounds, speech, learning, and memories. The cerebellum integrates your senses, helping you to balance, control, and fine-tune your movements. The hypothalamus is involved in many functions, including the release of hormones that help regulate your temperature, hunger, thirst, and sexual development. And the brainstem is like the final checkpoint for information going to the body from the brain, and vice versa. Alcohol affects the teenage brain differently to the adult brain because it's still developing and not all areas are fully operational. How you feel when you drink alcohol can be an indication of the damage it's doing to different areas in your brain. Alcohol affects the frontal lobes first, making you feel relaxed and reducing your inhibitions. This means you may talk more freely, act loud or rowdy, or do foolish things you later regret. As you continue drinking, your brain starts slowing down, reducing your ability to concentrate, make good decisions, and control your emotions and impulses. This means you might do things you otherwise wouldn't. In the hypothalamus, alcohol blocks the hormone that tells the kidneys to reabsorb water. This means more water is lost as waste. Reducing the amount of water available to the brain makes you dehydrated, which explains the headaches and body aches you may experience the next day, otherwise known as a hangover. Alcohol's effect on your cerebellum is evident when you lose your balance and fall over, or have difficulties with standing and walking. This is why injuries are so common when people are intoxicated. Drinking alcohol particularly affects a part of the temporal lobe called the hippocampus, which enables us to form new memories. Alcohol interferes with the transfer of information from short-term memory to long-term memory. So if you drink heavily over a short period, you may experience a blackout, meaning the next day you can't remember what you said or did. Drinking at a level that causes blackouts means you're also much more likely to do something you wouldn't usually do, and your friends may not be aware of how drunk you really are. During your teenage years, you need to look after your brain to keep it healthy just like other parts of your body. Our scientists are learning more about the brain all the time, and research has shown that the damage alcohol does to the developing brain is not only short-term, but may be permanent. Look after your brain. It's the only one you've got.
It's in a lab setting.
So obviously you can see there's a bit of a change of perspective from what that video is saying and the message that the Bud Light commercial is saying, where it's fun and it's having a good time, right? So here's what we're gonna do now. You're gonna take the piece of paper on your desk, and you're gonna draw a line right down the middle of it.
Are we drawing it vertically?
Um,
This or like this?
That's up to you. Let's be creative with the line. Just got to be two sides to it. So I want you to think back to the Bud Light commercial, as well as the video we just watched. On one side of the line, you're going to talk about all the things you've seen about drinking in pop culture, commercials, movies, TV, music, art. And then on the other side, I want you to try and describe what you think could happen in a real, non-Hollywood drinking experience. What's going on there? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that, and then we'll talk about it.
Order.
One minute. 1 minute, guys, you almost done? Yeah. Eric, are you contributing today, or are you just gonna sit there? Okay, you guys good? Alright. You guys are good. I was going around, everyone sort of seeing if they had which is nice. My other class had no idea. Let's go through them, let's take them up, okay? So again, we're going through them. So let's alternate, we'll use Eric and Eric's group. Andre, what did you guys say could be used for early fire for us? Which one is he? This one? Yeah. Okay, cool. Cold, hot stuff. Like me? Oh, liquid. Remember what I said earlier? Early matter class is paladin. Right? So you wanted to do something accurate measure. Often what you sometimes see it used is you put a solid in there in the bottom, right? And you can dissolve it with a certain liquid chemical.
Okay, like water, acetic acid.
To an accurate level, right? This one you guys said for graduate cylinder. Really what you said? Add your volume with liquid acid. Big no. That's all you know. That's the perfect. Next one, easy. Beaker. Andre, what did you guys say? No,
I'm going to do just a little bit longer for everyone.
right? Not necessarily bad. We want to
Can I
match
see
up.
the thumbs?
This can also use to have solids.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to share
Really
what we
beaker.
got, so we're going to make our own class list, okay?
That's what most
So,
people do is
On this side,
This one, order past the
left side, sorry, we're going to have all the things that we might see about alcohol in pop culture, music, movies, commercials, TV. Then on the right side, we're going to talk about what we think could happen in a real drinking experience. So let's start on the left. What do we have written down for our pop culture drinking experiences?
This has so many.
It looks cool.
Water is a common one, right? Just to wash things off, or just purify water, whatever you need.
Yes.
Would be a good
Got it
time.
to a laboratory setting.
Good.
You can also use it to hold,
Everyone
hold
drinks?
acid.
Everyone drinks.
Acid
That's a
is
big one.
obviously- Julie, what would acid be for?
Who else do we got?
Nail polish.
That's nice.
So just like
Hangovers
nail-
aren't
nail polish.
too bad.
So it's the best thing you know.
People would think it's bad to drink again.
And,
Sorry, what was that last one?
any really-
People are,
any way
they
you
wake
want
up
to shoot
feeling
methanol,
fine, like no effects.
no crazy water. And let's get you a good that. And
You can party more freely.
just a note up here. Those are the
Freely
sort
from
of
what?
5 that I want
Like
you
you
guys
don't
to
have any
focus on.
boundaries, like you don't
I
think
don't
about
really
it.
go too much in depth. That's all I want you to think about. Tomorrow we'll go more in depth.
Really, nothing holds you back, kind of thing?
And we may play get the roll about whatever. I may see if they're available to use. And you have to play with them.
Any other ideas? What about socially?
All right.
How do you?
You're a leader.
Sorry?
You feel like you're the leader
Leader?
or socially accepted because
Yeah.
everyone around you drinks.
Yeah, Chelsea?
You could say that popular people especially drink more
Okay.
compared to
Cool
like
kids do it?
I think it relates to popularity as well.
So we're all about making connections in this class? Alright, that's a pretty big list. Any other ideas, or do we want to be moving on to the right side? Feel pretty good about this left side? Alright, what do we think might happen in a real drinking experience? It can overlap a bit, but
Over drinking can make you really sick.
really sick.
It can be addictive.
Addictive. Justin?
It's not always an enjoyable experience.
Not always enjoyable.
But I would do that, because like, I know everyone needs to
It can impair your judgment more than you think.
You actually get really bad hangovers.
Really bad hangovers. Justin?
Drinking's still perceived though as a cool thing to do in real life as opposed to all time.
Okay.
Health concerns,
Health concerns. Dig deeper into that, health concerns.
as in if you drink too much, you can damage your internal organs, your brain, heart, everything.
that, that was what my.
Anything else, or are we feeling pretty good about this list? It's not quite as long as our left side list. We must have been watching a lot of movies lately.
Watched
It tastes disgusting at first.
Tastes disgusting at first. What about consequences? What consequences are there from drinking that probably aren't focused on in the beer in movies? One second.